to the space, chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you buy before you're good. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic then dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this run cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. I'm sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how.
Sometimes it may seem you're coming into crypto late. A week in crypto feels emotionally like a month or even 2, doesn't it? Part of what I cover on this channel is some of the best upcoming and current projects out there, especially when their prices get so juicy. And sometimes we take a few minutes to step back and see the big picture. Today we're going to talk about quitting and why quitting makes crypto so profitable. It really does, but perhaps not the way you're thinking. We'll see. I'll share with you my thoughts and we'll see if that's exactly what you were thinking. Also, what do you think about the metaverse pump that we had 2 months ago, and now there's some big retracements? Some of these projects have come down off their highs and have retraced. Where are they going to go in the next few months? Will they retrace further or take off from here? Well, take a look at Decentraland, Sandbox, Netvrk, and some of the other recent play-to-earn guilds. We'll also get your questions on the market and set aside some time to hear your thoughts and take a look at what you want us to look at. Welcome to the Crypto Rainn channel. I'm your host, Jay Rainn, and if you like money in crypto and are looking for a real investor's take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family by liking this video and subscribing with the all notifications bell enabled. Special note, you know this, but I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a crypto investor myself, sharing with you how I think about crypto, the crypto market, and specific cryptos I like. I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I don't talk about cryptos I don't believe in. So join us, strap in for the show. Let's welcome our producer, D-Money, in the Crypto Rainn Command Center with us.
What is up, Jay? I'm stoked to be here, out of quarantine, which is amazing. I got tested this morning, not detected. So that was super exciting. Family's all good. I appreciate your concern, your shout outs over the week. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, great to have you back in the studio. Yeah, it was not near as much fun without you here.
Well, it was tough watching from home, to be honest. I was like, oh, like, you know, I mean, whatever. Like you did great, man. But yeah, there are a couple times I'm like, oh man, I wish I was there. I wish I was there. So yeah, thanks to 158 Beats. Good to hear D-Money. Yeah, it's good to be here. Shout out to a bunch of people as well. Shahid, Johannes, Dougie, Juan. Yeah, Nine's in here, Dwayne. So yeah, let's get the party started, shall we?
Let's do it. Join me, Rainmakers. Hey, we want to thank all of you who help grow this channel and like every one of our videos. Thank you. It does matter a lot and helps us continue to grow. The bigger we get, the bigger our giveaways will give to you. So we'll be able to give to you. And it does increase our connections to get more of the top guests on to speak with you. So let's take a first look at Bitcoin. I just want to share with you some thoughts I had on Bitcoin. I want to share with you the bigger trend that's going on here. So really this was the bottom. It wasn't the full bottom from the bear market, but when we first had the pandemic scare and businesses were shutting down and everything, Bitcoin, there was a big sell-off in the stock market, which led to a huge sell-off here, and it brought crypto and Bitcoin all the way down to 3,800. And since then, we've been on this longer trend up. So as much as it can be frustrating, especially for those that came in late and they bought around this time, now whether they bought Bitcoin or something else, and then to have the trend fall back on you like this just gives you some perspective of where it's going. It's still generally in an uptrend. Even if it came down to $40,000 or $43,000, we'd still be following this trend. Let me share back with you generally where we are. I mean, here was the top of 2017. So we're way up above the top, but nowhere near the top of the increase in the market. Here was the 2013 peak, way down here at like 1,300. And then it went to 20,000, so about a 15x. And we are nowhere near a 15x from 20K, and maybe it won't be as high of a peak as it was last cycle. But let me share with you Plan B. Oh, that's a good one, but we're not ready for that one yet. Plan B shows the stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin and where the true value likely is of Bitcoin. And so right now it's very undervalued, and that true value is probably sitting around $108,000 right now. And what happens is it tends to catch some momentum and then overshoot it like it did at all these points here, and then it retraces to below it. So it's nice that we're sitting nice and below it. And even on this climb, look how often it was below the market and then it wasn't, and it shot way up here. So I imagine 2022 is going to be an amazing year for many of us, specifically those of us in crypto. Now, are you down for a story?
I'm down for a story.
Fantastic. I love a good story. In our private Discord group that through our Patreon members, they get access to, we were having a discussion about the greatest current discounts out there on some of the top projects. And one of our members mentioned a friend that had close to 35K invested in the market. And he just sold all his cryptos at a 57% loss and left the crypto space, just barely. Now, our fellow Rainmaker tried to talk him out of it like a good friend and even sent him some of our videos, but to no avail. The guy was done. He had had it. What I find in this space is some people get in their mind improper expectations, and when those don't get filled, they quit and they are out. Remember a few months ago why it was so hard to understand why doesn't everyone make such great gains? This is amazing. This technology is going to change the world. Wow, why would anyone ever leave? That's crazy. People were in 2013 and then left. Why? Now you're starting to see why many panic sell out at a loss when prices scale back, right? Now this is part of the reason why there's so much money to be made in crypto. Let me explain. There's two things that drive the huge returns in crypto. First is value. This technology really is changing the world. It's bringing capabilities to the internet that weren't there before, where it can save people money, it can save businesses money, as well as they can produce more for less. So there's real value there. The second reason is people quitting out leaves their chips on the table to be picked up by those who are patient that will then take profits at highs. And they get to keep that. Those two things are what drive the really, really high returns. If it wasn't for that second part, the returns wouldn't be as high. And it's just part of human nature. Like we try to share with people here on the channel proper expectations. So just be patient. Just knowing that even some people that watch this channel, it's not going to work. They just can't stick through the rough times. And that's okay. And that's why even on the thumbnail, we had the little bell. I use the analogy of Navy SEALs. I've really been thinking about that the last month in the Navy SEALs training and how they weed out so many people. And they just put them through grueling stuff. And really all it takes to become a Navy SEAL is you have to be kind of fit, but you have to be tenacious and patient and just weather through it. isn't that really what makes a difference here? Like, I can't look back and say I've made all the right picks. There are better picks that I could have made in some circumstances, especially when I was new. But just making educated picks on some stuff with really good teams and then waiting and being patient while it plays out, that works really, really well. And the part that is essential to that is waiting and being patient for the right time frame in order for it to play out. Now, I'm sure there are thousands more stories. In fact, I bet you some of you know someone who did exactly that, and I would love to see in the details and some of the details of those in the comments. So if you have a story of a friend that already quit out, we'd love to see that in the comments or in the chat, because I wanna hear some of those stories and read some of those. While you're thinking of some of those, I want to talk about metaverse projects too. We all got caught off guard when Facebook came out and Mark Zuckerberg made this big change in how they're directing everything towards the metaverse, and we saw everything with metaverse attached to it pump tremendously. In fact, let's take a look at, we saw Sandbox's token, which I don't know what the value of some of the tokens for these projects are. The land, I get that value. The value of the token, it does well as you have more people coming into the space, but it's just kind of like a currency. However, even with that, the tokens have pumped tremendously. So it was right here before this at about 80 cents, and then it peaked out at almost $7.51, close to $8. So it almost 10x'd on that announcement. And then it's come back like this, and you see it's hit this resistance zone here. And if we were to put a Fibonacci, maybe it'll let us. There we go. Thank you, Trading View. Let's take a look and see what this looks like. So let's take it from the beginning of that pump. Yeah. And it's retraced. Oh, there we go. Yeah, to about the 50% retracement level, and it's been hitting support there and hasn't broken through. But I want to hear what your thoughts are, because I feel like there's some really good value in these metaverses, and this is where a lot of things are going. And I feel like some great long-term value in the land, as well as some value in their currency. As more people come in, especially with their currency being fixed, that currency will increase in value as people want it to be able to exchange and use things. So if you have a billion users in your metaverse and they're all exchanging things in, say, the sand token, that will have an astronomical value over what it has now. I don't question the long-term value on this, but do you think it's going to see a lot more pain before it goes up? I mean, let's look at the longevity of this chart. I want to look at a one-day chart there. There we go. I mean, this gives us better the full chart way back here where it was trading around 8 cents, and it's already it's at $5. Do you see more pain before you see more pump? Let me take a look at what you're saying in the comments. Crypto Navy SEALs, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Chris said he hasn't had anybody yet, as far as like people leaving, but he's had to talk, or he has had to talk one person off the ledge. I'm curious. I've seen people in our comments say that they left a while ago themselves, and then they've come back. So I'm curious if anybody's in that in that position right now, right, where this is maybe their second go around in the space.
Yeah, I'm enjoying all the comments here. You know, it happens, and I've stuck around. That doesn't mean I haven't taken like a week off or 2 weeks off from just like following up every day, and especially during the crypto winter. Sometimes I would go like 2 weeks and I wouldn't check my Blockfolio. I wouldn't take a look at it. And then I would take a look at it again, especially when it's painful. Don't be scared to like step away and stop looking at the prices. What I don't do is I don't panic sell out. Like, we're human beings, we can only take so much bombardment. I do try to be, especially kind of give you the long-term vision during these pullbacks so you can see what you're holding on for, so that it can pick you up if you're feeling down, because we are still emotional, and it is like knives in our heart when we wake up and the prices are down 30% again, and we thought we already bought at cheap levels, and it's just part of it, right? Rarely in my history have I bought the top and or bought the bottom, and rarely have I sold the absolute top, but all that money can be made, huge amounts of money in the middle there over time. Yeah, definitely. Robin says smash that like button. Really appreciate you doing that. Our YouTube has not been sharing out our channel very much lately, so every time you hit that like button, it really does help it that way. There is a lot of competition, a lot of channels, a lot of new ones springing up over the past 6 months. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like we give you a little bit different content than what you get everywhere else, but you tell me. I mean, at the end of the day, we produce this channel for you to try to create the right atmosphere and the right ecosystem for a lot of people to get really rich over the coming 4 years. But we don't have to do this channel. You know, crypto's essentially already retired me. This is just a way that I could create the right atmosphere, the right group that we could do even better together. So, let's see.
Speaking of metaverses, Tyson Larson says, I like Cornucopias. I see the bubble is free to everyone. What are the advantages and disadvantages to that model versus, is it Pavia? I don't know that one, or Sandbox.
So Cornucopias, I think, allows everyone to have their starter space or their own little house that they don't have to necessarily pay for, and you can get other ones. So we'll see how it plays out. There's going to be a lot of different experiments. I'm seeing a lot of the play-to-earn games have some really expensive NFTs that you have to get in order to be able to earn money playing it. And I think they're going that direction because that integrates well with guilds. And guilds is an interesting idea that's really come together in the last 6 months. We'll talk about a few guilds and some of their prices, those that have tokens, have come back too. It'll be interesting to see where this goes if guilds become a very necessary thing. The projects like to set things up in a way that integrates well with guilds because guilds can instantly bring 2,000 players. In the future, they'll be big enough, many of them, to be able to bring 100,000 players or 200,000 players. And what guilds like is something that a game that requires some kind of investment that the guild can go ahead and make for their players, bring them in on scholarship, and then they split the revenues. Because if the game is completely free to start, then you just don't necessarily need a guild. But some people who are playing games, what I've noticed in life is some people are good without somebody else setting structure for them, and some people need in their lives somebody to set up structure for them, and guilds help do that. So I don't know how this is going to play out. And so how that plays out depends on which type of model is going to do best, the ones that take a huge upfront investment or the ones that don't. I mean, Sandbox, you can play, you'll be able to have a character and stuff. You just won't be able to have any kind of land without some kind of big upfront investment. I think the base land is going for still like 15 grand worth in ETH. Ooh, expensive.
Yeah, crazy.
Appreciating all your comments in there. So let's look at the prices. That's the Sandbox price, but even Decentraland did the exact same thing. And look at that, just skyrocketing. Holy cow. And I remember Mana being forever. Mana actually did decent during the bear run. It had peaked out at like 17 to 26 cents. You can see it right there. And then it only came down to about 5 cents at the bottom. And I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, that retraced 80%. What you don't realize is most altcoins retraced 97 to 99.5%. So 80% retracement was actually better than what Bitcoin did because Bitcoin retraced 85%. So that was really interesting to watch. And that's the only decentralized metaverse that we have to go off of was what the Mana token did because it was the only one that was out. So the Sandbox came out mostly during the bear market and their token too, and their land sales started way prior to this. And at some point their Sandbox will be totally sold out and probably we will see their land skyrocket from where the prices are even now. Their tokens though, I'm leaning towards they're going to pull back from here, that they're going to see more pain. And the reason is Mark Zuckerberg kind of got everyone really hyped about it, and think of it like a huge sugar injection. And I remember during the later bear market, there's this project called Engine that you probably heard of with a J. And they're an NFT project, and their token integrates in really unique ways. And they were one of the first crypto NFT projects and really have become some of the pioneers. But they made a partnership with Sony, and their project went absolutely 10x. Like, oh my gosh, they partnered with Sony. That's so big. And I remember this guy making a video, and he's like, I'm selling all my tokens. And people said, you're crazy. What are you doing? And he said, I know, it's 10x. It could keep going from here. It's gone crazy. But I just think it's going to pull back, because how long is it going to be before this partnership with Sony materializes into something you see day to day? Guess what? It retraced most of the gains. Not all of the gains, but most of them. Looking at this, I just think of that story. So I did make a very, very small investment in one of the guilds that we'll talk about, but I'm still just waiting. Now, this is my thoughts on it. I'm not always right. I'm just often right. And there is a difference between always right and often right. I'm not quite sure. And one of the ways that I'm right is like when I'm interested in something and it starts pulling back, I decide where to make entries. And I make purchases on the retracements. Now, I'm waiting on all these to see if they come back cheaper, because otherwise this is still too high of a price for me. Another token I have followed and I covered way back when it was really cheap, and it's done really well, but it's on a big retracement. I'm liking this retracement stronger. So I went all the way up to almost $7 here, and this is the Netvrk token. That's Netvrk for those of you just listening. All right, so it's pulled back to almost $3. You're starting to see some rounding, but I'm still watching this one. They have made a ton of partnerships, and so I'm really liking, since they early started releasing a look at what their game would look like in their terrain editor and stuff. I like what they're building here, and I like the technology and the way that their universe looks. So I am looking at their token, but I think even this will pull back more, probably to these support levels. And then if we're really lucky, that's probably when I'll be making entry prices. And then if it breaks below that, then I'll be buying more. And that's usually how I play it when I'm looking for retraces. But it's still really hot. This narrative is really hot. I love the comments in the comments section. You guys are all bringing up projects that are not in the narrative right now, and that's a better place to be buying on discount, because still the narrative is kind of coming off its hype, but it should have longer before it organically comes back into the narrative. And if it plays out that way, and that's why I'm being patient on these, is because I think they'll be out of narrative for a while, is something else takes the main stage. And if so, these will have much bigger retracements. So AIOZ, I love AIOZ. Yeah, and they pumped up all of a sudden. It was like, shoot, I wish I had even more. And then they've retraced most of those gains. Made Pro says, Bitcoin, Sol, Sand, Engine, My4, fantastic. Especially if you picked up Sand and Engine before. Solana's been doing really good, and Bitcoin's a good... I mean, for the crypto space, Bitcoin is a stable coin. Even though it's nowhere near stable, it's kind of low risk that if you just hold it over the long period, it does really, really well for you. Hex. Hex is an interesting one. I've made a ton of money off Hex, but it was just kind of a speculative gamble for me. I don't buy it at today's price. In fact, I've been selling off as it's done really well. It's a really interesting thing. I think the founder of it, Richard Hart, is an exceptionally intelligent guy. There's some problems with how he set up Hex, and so as a risk, essentially the origin address owns, anytime Hex is minted, like the origin address got equal amounts to that. So essentially, if he owns the origin address, and he won't ever say if he does, then he has as much Hex as, like, he can totally personally tank the price of Hex by selling off 10% of what he has. And so he hasn't done that, and it's tended to do well, but that was always the risk. Hey Jay, on average, how many coins do you hold? I'm diversified into over 100 projects. I sometimes lose track of some of those smaller investments that I have. It's a problem that I hope many of you have this time next cycle. It is the advantage of having stuck through the crypto winter, been patient, having had the tenacity to just wait it out and let it play out, to make some investments. And even when I thought, oh my gosh, I was probably wrong on this, but just being patient and letting it play out and see if I was wrong. And so many of those I end up being very, very, very right on. And when you give enough time to let it play out, you can have some amazing gains. And I've used those gains to diversify into lots and lots of projects.
OMI Queen says, all my eggs are in my OMI basket at this time, and I'm close to there with her. But we are going to cover OMI a little bit, or at least Veve, a little bit later in the show, right?
Yeah. So that's a great one. I feel like there's few projects out there that have as good of fundamentals as OMI does. I mean, we have a project that is making money on a monthly basis. They've signed some of the best intellectual property rights with the biggest names and the biggest brands around the world. So it's actually, real quick, I wanted to bring up, if you haven't participated in our Wanchain giveaway from last week, that is here. So go to Twitter and go to @CryptoRainn with 2 N's. There's no space in it when you're looking at the profile. It looks just like this, @CryptoRainn. Okay, and so you're looking for this, then click on the Gleam link and you can participate there. There's going to be 3 winners. We're going to pick them, like, I think in a day or two. Dak, one of our community members, is helping organize the Gleam campaign for us, so thank you to him for that. And then we'll also be giving away another 125 won this week as well. But you still have time to enter in from last week's, because this one specifically, we wanted to do it in a way that people who don't make the live stream could participate. So click on the Gleam campaign. There's some different things that you can do to increase your chances of winning. Cool. Real quick, I want to cover Thetan Arena is an interesting game that just came out. They've added supposedly millions of players, but probably it's more like millions of downloads. This is their token, THG, but this is a new play-to-earn game that actually you can make funds playing. Now, if you buy some NFTs, then you earn more of the token by playing. In fact, I think you have to own some of those NFTs to make anything while playing. We're seeing a big downtrend, and this is one of the challenges with the token, like Smooth Love token. If you look at Axie Infinity, that has 2 types of tokens, the Smooth Love Potion, and then it has the AXS token. Well, the one that you can actually earn by playing, that will fluctuate a lot in price. And so do note that when you're investing in a project, note that the one that they pay out in is a highly speculative thing, more like a currency that will go up and down. So if you are looking to invest in the play-to-earn space, be careful with these kind of tokens. If you see it does reach really low lows, like I know there are some points that Smooth Love Potion hit these really low lows, and then as the number of people came in, like the price went up a lot, but it's fluctuated a lot. So know that even though this game looks like it's doing cool things, I played the game, it was a lot of fun. Massive flaw in the game in that there's no button to close the window. You literally have to shut down your phone in order to close it. I imagine they'll fix that, but it is a cool game. You're seeing games go closer to what we want to be playing that are also play to earn. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm curious. 158 Beats says I've been playing Thetan for 2 weeks now. Really worth it. I played the game just for a second. I actually play a lot of Brawl Stars, and this seems like a, kind of a Brawl Stars ripoff, or really, League of Legends ripoff, or whatever, right? But yeah, I'm curious what he means by it's been worth it. Like, has he made some money on it already, or what? Because for me, the gameplay was tough because it wasn't as polished as Brawl Stars, which makes sense because it's a newer project. But I do like that style of game, right?
Yeah.
So if 158's on there, if he's made some money, I'm curious to know what what he means exactly.
Krister has said this twice. Oh, asking me if I'm buying more bump. Yes, I will be buying more bump. I haven't because the liquidity wasn't there. I didn't look at it over the weekend. So that's the kind of project I like to buy on the retracement. And then I want to get to something else. But let's just take a... Woo! I hope it's down there. Even though I bought a bunch already, I would love for that to be the case. So we will see. And this nice flat bottom for... Yeah, let's see where the liquidity is Uniswap. Okay, there should be some depth now there that I will be picking some up. Uniswap version 3. Notice that version 3. So one of the things I do to trade is I click right on the link here so that it takes me to the right version of Uniswap. Real quick, I want to talk about these guilds. I did buy a little bit of Yield Guild Games, and it's not down huge, but I don't have any exposure to any of the guilds, and so I made a small purchase on this retracement. They're one of the earliest ones to come out, so it's kind of like a blue chip in that. I don't know. I think their model will do really well, especially with certain types of games that go the guild route. I think a lot of money is going to move into this space, so I feel like the guilds will do a good job. There is a new one that came out, and you got to love the name of it. Rainmaker Games, and they named their token Rainn. Gotta say I love it. I mean, my lawyers will be reaching out to them over trademarks. Just kidding.
D-Money's coming at him with brass knuckles.
Yeah. No, as long as they're cool to our community, I don't mind them giving us more attention, right? Because, yeah, clearly it's a good name. That's why we used it. In this space, with the right knowledge, the right understanding, and the right patience, it's amazing how you can make it rain in your life financially over a period of 4 years, 5 years. So, love their name. Another big one is Good Games Guild, GGG. They're also on a bigger retracement. If you look, they were almost $16, and they're currently down at almost one-third that. We'll see. What do you think about the guild space? Has anyone participated in it? Probably not, right? Because that's a lot of people who are kind of employee mindset people that they don't have the investment assets to make a $400 purchase and don't mind giving up, say, 30 or 40 or 50% of their earnings because they don't have that initial. And so it's a good model for people that really, some people just want a job. They don't want to have to weigh all these variables. They don't want to have to tie up $400, and they don't mind sharing that. And there are people out there that are like that. I'm not wired that way at all. And my guess is a lot of our audience isn't wired with the employee mindset. If you are, hopefully that changes with us over a period of weeks or months or years.
Yeah, Jay, I'm gonna bring it back just because 1-858 Beats. He responded. He said, yeah, he bought 2 boxes on the flash sale for 150 each. Another hero NFT for 175. So it looks like he's like what 470 invested, and he's got 2,000 of the tokens.
Wow.
Right now, between 15-20 cents each. So he's basically made his investment back in 2 weeks, and he said he's hoping to earn a little bit more here in the next.
So he has 2,000 of the tokens, and there were $7.82 a piece.
Yeah, I don't know. THG. That's,
he's got the THC token, right?
Yeah, he said those are worth 15 to 20 cents each or something like that. He has 2 more weeks to earn tokens, and he's hoping to earn 2,000 more. So that's cool, right? And that's an iOS.
There we go. That's what he's earning right there.
Yeah. Yeah, but iOS as well as Android mobile game. I don't know if it's on PC or not, but I like the mobile games, right? Because those are ones you can just pick up quick and play a couple battles, while you're just sitting for a second. Interesting. Thanks for letting us know about that 158.
Yeah, thanks for the exact breakdown. Yes, it is this token that they're paying you now, and it peaked out at around $1, and it's totally flattened in price. So the other one we were looking at must be their actual like DAO type token, which has also come down a bit in price, but I don't know the specific tokenomics behind it, what drives its value. But this is usually, if Thetan Arena does really well, this will tend to do well because it's not getting flooded by tons of tokens like the THC will be. And THC ends up being a supply and demand thing. There's usually things that you need those tokens to be able to spend on things. And so they get burned as well as they get brought into it. And this is the challenge that Axie Infinity is having. In fact, now that they have a lot of money, they've hired all these PhDs in economics trying to help them balance their ecosystem also they don't super deflate their currency, kind of like the US dollar is being deflated by so much overprinting. All right, let's jump over to Veve. This is one of my favorite projects long term, and I think many of you in the audience. And the reason is because they're making so much revenues on a monthly basis. They're getting the best intellectual property. Their app works really well. It's got the coolest NFTs that you can put them in augmented reality. They'll have the Veveverse coming, so they'll have a metaverse. I don't feel like their metaverse is priced in at all in what they're doing. And so that's why I think there's extra value on the token. I saw some of the people in chat is like, I'm all in on Ecomi's token. And I've put in a ton of this too, not only because there will be some staking advantages to it, but because I think this will do even better in the future. And yes, they're already at a $1.4 billion market cap, but it can go incredible from here. They're really good. There was our top running back in U.S. football at one point, even though I don't follow it that closely. They asked him why he didn't celebrate in the end zone, and he said, well, because I've been there before. And I think about that saying a lot, like a lot of projects, anytime they make any kind of announcement, they rush to like put it, like any type of partnership, they rush to put it out because they're hoping to draw attention. Ecomi is so confident in what they're doing that they sit on their announcements for months and months and months, in some cases years, for just the right timing, because they're super confident in their future. Like they're sitting on a lot of their Veveverse announcements that they could be putting out all the time, that they could have caught this huge wave with their token going up with the metaverse stuff, and they didn't, because they like to underpromise and overdeliver. And so with that, I think that's part of what makes, even at these prices, an extra good price for the long term for me personally. And that's why I love this token. I think it will do well, and I love that for the most part they continue to underpromise and overdeliver.
Yeah, huge example, right? Yeah, bring that back up. Steamboat Willie coming out on Wednesday. Very first instance of Mickey Mouse existing, right? And this is what I thought the very first Disney NFT was going to be when they were doing the golden moments. So I'm stoked to see that this is going to be, going to be there, and this is part of a Mickey Mouse collection. It looks like, so we'll see what happens, but yeah, it's exciting stuff. Stevie just said it's really hard to get on Veve. I assume that they mean the drops themselves. But big drops. How did you do over the weekend, Jay?
So I have the challenge that everyone does. Now there's 4 people in my household that we try to participate in them, and if we're lucky, we get 1. Usually there are some things that you can do to give yourself an advantage. Like number 1, when you first pull it up, that countdown timer is sometimes behind by half a second or not. So if you have a couple of people, look and see if one of yours is changing faster, and if it's not, like the one that's changing later, you want to like close out and reopen it. And because a half second is everything, things are sold out within 0.1 seconds, right? So that helps you, as well as like it used to be that you could fast tap on the button like this, and like when the buy now button finally let you buy, like then your order would go through. I think it now penalizes if you do that. So one of the things that we do is we get a countdown timer on an atomic clock, and we're like, okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, and at 0, click on it, and out of 4, we're lucky if we get 1, because we go through the same problems that everyone else does. Part of the reason why that's such a problem is because these collectibles are, like most of them, an instant 4 to 20x. Some of them much more if you happen to get like an ultra rare or a secret rare. So like they had the Coca Cola one out this morning, if you look at this, and out of the 4 of us, 1 of us got the common. In fact, in your household, what did you guys get on this, D?
Yeah, we got, we have 3 devices, and yeah, my wife and my son and me, and we got 2 actually. We pulled 2 rares right on the drop, which was huge. Unfortunately, it's funny the way that it's working right now, because the last time that I checked the common, these were $30, $29, and the common was going for like $140, and the rare was going for $160, and then the uncommon was going for like $70. Like, I don't get it. I think that the polar bear itself, getting back to the screen, like the polar bear is the common, and the polar bear is iconic, right? And so, so I think that might have something to do with why the common is going a little higher than the uncommon. Because, yeah, the uncommon is 4 Coke bottles. I actually think that that's the one that we got 2 of, that rare.
That is cool.
And it's and the neon sign, actually, as you look at it and change angles, it kind of glows in different ways. So I think that's actually the coolest design out of any of them. But yeah, it's weird how how it's actually working with the commons being a little bit more valuable than the uncommon. It did that with the Deadpool NFT that dropped on Saturday as well. I pulled an uncommon that morning, and the commons are going for more than the uncommon. I don't get it exactly.
Yeah, we've seen that a bunch too. We saw that in the Disney drops that the common was going for as much. I think they put the higher value item, the one that was going to do better, like C3PO and R2D2. R2D2 is more popular than C3PO, so they made him the common so more people would get him.
That's actually not the case on that one, Jay.
Was it
yeah,
reverse?
C3PO is the common, but and R2D2. Yeah, that was the one, because the other ones it was like it was like
Bart Simpson and the skateboard, and it was like, I'd rather take the Bart Simpson one versus the skateboard. Elsa, and then the Mickey hat, although the Mickey hat did incredibly well.
Yeah.
So, but it was just the magician's hat.
Yeah, Chris Ashby, one of our longtime listeners, loyal. He just said the uncommon gets so much disrespect. However, the common design should have been the secret rare. Everybody loves that polar bear. Yeah, he's absolutely right.
Yeah, this is a pretty lame secret rare, unless it has some magical effect that I'm not aware of. Like, yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed, so 1886 mint numbers of the secret rare, and that's the year that Coke was introduced, was 1886. So that's kind of a fun little nod there to Coke history. But I think people don't understand. Well, probably people do understand, but Coke is the most iconic brand in the world, and there's a lot of people who collect Coke, and as they start to understand what NFTs are, and realize, hey, these are the first NFTs that Coke has done, it's going to be huge.
Now, these drops are worth it. There is a lot of knowledge that goes into like trying to keep track of what's going on and stuff. And then sometimes buying it on the resale market about 2 days after it comes out, when the price kind of bottoms out. But if it's something that has long-term value, they'll appreciate from there, even if you're not lucky enough to get on the drop. But what you pick, you want to look at the factors of like what has possible huge adoption in the future, that as more people come to the space, they'll say, oh my gosh, I want one of those. And that's what drives up the value. For the comic books, it's like a first appearance of like a major villain or a major hero that's been around, or a comic book number one on, a major line of comic books. And you can kind of go off the guidepost of, well, what does the actual physical comic of that do? And it gives you kind of an indication of what we'll appreciate from here. So some of those have gone up tremendously. My guess is that they'll go up really, really well in the future if the Veveverse comes together, because then everyone will want these digital comics to be able to read in the Veveverse. If it doesn't come together, who knows? Probably still go up in value, as they'll be able to be exported to and tradable on OpenSea. But they'll do exceptionally well, even just like the common versions of like Spider-Man #1 and some of these other ones. If the Veveverse comes together and becomes one of the dominant multiverses. Now they're set up, even though they haven't been talking about that a lot, they do have the funds to build that, and they have a strong team, firing on all cylinders, some of the best IP. So I think they're going to be a contender for one of the best multiverses out there. Now, it does make me sad that some people give up on Akomi because the token price hasn't done great since March, but it will really have a strong day in the sun, and I don't see why that won't be in the first half of this year. Now, while we're on the subject, did do a partnership with VLaunch, and yeah, I really like these guys. When Chris from Crypto, when I was new in the space in 2017, there were a lot of YouTubers, but a few that thought about the economics, like the things that I look at, like the strength of the team, the narrative that they're in, and he did the best research of anybody with a YouTube channel. Now, unfortunately for all of us, he doesn't really cover altcoins anymore. He actually does leverage trades on Bitcoin and all the time, and follows just Bitcoin. And he's done exceptional as an investor in the space. Many YouTubers are actually not great investors. Chris has done exceptional, and you've probably seen the video with his new house. It's incredible. Anyway, he is one of the founders, and he has the right connections to make this a really big thing. And then his partner, Mo, is the largest YouTuber in Germany, although I don't understand any German. So he does have an English channel. I don't know how big that one is. But then he's partnered with all the biggest names in crypto, right? So, yeah, I think this has the traction to be getting the very best launches through it. So what do I like about that? Well, I liked Launchpads. If you were around in March when the market is going absolutely crazy, and I saw one that I got in, I think a $200 or $250 allocation, even though to send the money in ETH cost me about a $35 transaction fee, which kind of sucked. It went to about $17,000 over a period of about a week. And when the market goes parabolic again, launchpads, the proper launchpads, they're getting the very best launches, because only the very best launches do that. It's almost like printing money. And what is cool with them is that in a lot of cases, you can earn your allocation through doing a bunch of steps that they ask you. So for those that are just starting out that don't have huge capital and they're not whales, you can earn your place in their launches. So I would take a strong look at VLaunch and see if it's good for you. I like those things about it. I think it's going to become the #1 decentralized launchpad out there. Not, next to Binance's launchpad, but Binance is a centralized one. And so they already have the biggest Telegram group. They're doing all the right things. There is another one that I'm really bullish on, and that's Gamespad. And Gamespad has all the right backing. They have Alameda Research backing them. I saw a recent partnership with also Animoca Brands backing them. And so I would watch this one as well. Gamespad, I think, is going to nail it out of the park. And they're going to have some of the best NFT and gaming projects go through them. Now, I think 2021 and 2022, a lot of the focus is going to be on GameFi or game finance, or essentially crypto and gaming marrying up. And so some of the hottest projects that launch this coming year with the best returns will be games. And so that's why I'm very bullish on this one too. So if you haven't followed them, you can follow them at Gamespad_VC. All right, this is a quick look at what their website is all about. One of the things with them is you have to own their token as well as some of their NFTs. And their NFT prices aren't cheap. What I do like about them is you can get guaranteed allocations at the higher tiers without having to do lots of steps, because as your portfolio grows, if you're in that, you don't have time usually to do all the extra steps that somebody who's brand new in the space and trying to get their portfolio to that point. So this gives you some different options as well. All right, I want to take a look at what's on the community's mind, and the rest of the time is yours.
Yeah, where did that comment go? Mario Muslim asks, do you think Polygon can reach ETH market cap? It's a better version than ETH with less fees. Do you think it can reach $20 to $30 at the top of the bull run?
That's only a 10x from the high. Yeah, I do think they can hit that. Polygon still doesn't handle huge amounts of transactions well, more than ETH can handle, right? And it's a heck of a lot cheaper. So I wouldn't say it's like the perfect solution, but it's a much better solution. So if I were launching something, like I still see sometimes some NFT projects come out and they're launching on ETH, and I'm like, why in the world at this point would you be launching on ETH? Why would you not be launching on Polygon? It's tradable on OpenSea on Polygon, like Polygon or IMX, but why ETH? Why don't you save all your people a $40 to $150 transaction fee every time they want to transact? So can they go to 15x from their all-time high? I think so. They've been in the news a lot and been doing pretty well. And I felt like they would, and they have been, even though most things have not been doing well. So look at this trend up while most things have been falling. So will they go even higher from here? Yes, probably. If you look at this is a cup. You're getting somewhat of a handle here, and then at some point they're going to break through this and go crazy. My opinion on it. So I like Matic. I've really seen their team do a lot of things. They make a lot of sense for projects to come onto. Their Quick Swap, or the Quick Swap app, can handle the swaps just like you would want to from Uniswap. So I'm seeing all the right things on it, all the right partnerships. I think Polygon's going to be gigantic in the future, and I think they've done the right things to be around 20 years from now.
Before we get too far away from VLaunch, Tyson Larson asks, when can you buy VLaunch?
It should be tradable soon. It'll come on some centralized exchanges, as well as I don't know what chain the token will be on, or multiples at the same time. It should be soon, because they already did their IDOs, and I think it's launched, but it's not tradable yet. But they have already launched like Rainmaker games here. So if you click on learn more, they've already done their whitelist lottery sale and distribution. But probably they did this along the lines of there were steps that you could do to earn it thing in this, because clearly the tokens aren't even tradable. So how could you have the tokens in order to stake them for this? Now, a lot of what they're setting up with their Launchpad is like effort-based stuff to help get hype for projects. That's really going to allow them to screen for the very best projects. That even if you have the very best project, you still want marketing and hype about your project so that it can really get off to a good start. And so that's what's going to be really attractive to projects as they're looking at potential launch pads out there. My guess is Chris and Mo are going to be filtering projects like 20 out of 24 hours of every day, because everybody's going to be knocking at their door.
A couple questions on Cornucopias. I got in at Cornucopias when it was 2 cents. So far, so good. Do you see it going parabolic soon? Stevie Dopp asks. And then there's, I can't remember. A few other people were talking about Copi a little bit earlier in the stream.
Let's pull up the chart for it. Now, a lot of it has to do with when their game comes into with some really big news. So let's look at how their price has done overall. It's performed pretty well. So it's got this rounded top, which means the buyers were getting exhausted, and people were selling into the demand as it hit 5 cents, right? And so then it dropped sharply and bounced right back up, though. That's interesting. Price behavior. I don't know. Let's see where all it's tradable right now. Just on PancakeSwap. Let's see. Now, it was really cheap way down here. By really cheap, about half price from here. So it's been fairly stable compared to everything else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like this project. It's one of the first play-to-earn games on Cardano. They have the right team to do something amazing. We did an interview with the founders. I like this project a lot. Its total market cap, if everything were in circulation, is 3.6 billion times 5 cents. It's at 180 million. So that's really not a bad market cap, fully diluted market cap, because that means their market cap right now is about 18 million. So yeah, I think it's got a huge upside compared to what it's at right now.
Well, and they just announced 5 days ago they partnered with Tingo International Holdings. I don't know what it is. It says this will bring our learn to earn and play to earn features to Tingo's 10 million subscribers in Nigeria. So that's one thing that's interesting about their project, is that they are making these partnerships. It's not just a play to earn, but they're talking about learn to earn stuff. Yeah, if you scroll down, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 tweets. You'll see what I'm talking about, but they keep and then they just announced these bubble car NFTs as well. So I think
just like the Jetsons.
Yeah, so I think that they've done a good job of keeping up, keeping some good announcements flowing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you scroll down just a little bit more, you'll see that Tingo announcement right there.
There we go.
But yeah, who knows what that means exactly, but I think the idea of introducing the project to 10 million people in Nigeria that already exist, like nobody else is doing that, right? Mm-hmm. And bringing in kind of the learn to earn aspect, I think that's really interesting. It's an interesting play.
With the right programmers and the right people, you can provide, why can't school be through a video game as far as what you can learn? In fact, it could be the challenge is, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Canada's education system for that and have them approve that? No way. You're going to go to the U.S.'s education system, which is dominated by the teachers' unions, who really don't care. I mean, the lead person of the teachers' union said they'll care about kids when kids pay teachers' union dues, you know. And so they don't care about the kids. So you got to go to, like, Africa, really, where the, like, if you can get a country without the corruption, which is hard in third world countries, right? Part of the reason they're still in the third world is corruption holds them back. And so as much as people complain about the US or Canada or the UK's corruption, it's like, yeah, it's bad. It's not near as bad as like the third world countries, and that's why they're third world, especially when they're sitting on a lot of resources. That is what holds them back, and you can judge how much corruption is in their country by where they are economically over time. And so, but if you can go to a place and you can get some where the government isn't corrupt and they're open to new ideas, you can have the games, you can do a lot of the education through games, and imagine where it could go. Like, you could have these learn to earns and stuff, and how much education, because then that captures the kid's attention where it natively is. I mean, the reason I had this physics professor who had the highest like marks as far as prepping kids. Basically, if you did well in his school, then it was worth like higher levels of undergraduate physics classes, because his education was so high. And you know what he did? He bought all these machines. Now, he was a millionaire because he had made these different inventions. So he bought or made these different machines where literally you would have a little spring cannon that would shoot a metal ball that had cotton taped to it at a balloon that was on the other side of the room. And so you would shoot it at that, and you had to figure out the strength of the spring, you had to figure out the trajectory and gravity and everything. Otherwise, your object was going to miss when you got your turn, right? So you had to figure out exactly where to place everything based on all those things. And so the kids were highly incentivized to make the balloon blow up, because if you fill a balloon with hydrogen, there's oxygen in the room, and you shoot something at it that's going to pop the balloon with a flame there. It actually creates a little explosion. It's a very safe explosion. So he would do all kinds of things like that. No wonder the kids learn so much. So if you can recreate something like that in a video game environment that can go bigger than having to have every teacher understand how to even teach kids how to use these contraptions, then you can have knowledge and education increase at paces we haven't seen for 100 years. Like that kind of increase. I feel like a lot of the countries around the world are just kind of muddling around with their education and trying not to be last, but they're definitely not pushing it light years ahead. Something like this could push education light years ahead, but it'd probably have to come through a country with a lot less red tape. So thank you all for joining us. If you haven't already, would you give us a like? It really helps this channel grow. And if you're ready to level up your crypto game, looking for life-changing gains, for those of you out there looking for life-changing gains, we support you too. Or even if you want to get that car so expensive that it increases in value rather than depreciates, join the Rainmaker family through subscribing as we get into how to analyze projects in ways that turn my portfolio from thousands into millions over the past few years. And the system that I used to do that. So look forward to seeing you again soon.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you buy before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic, they dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but with knowledge to gain. Show, seeking out this wrong, cause soon will come a bear market. We're learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the